Welcome to My Zone Online School. My name is Teacher Mutsa. Get your education booklet in our daily newspaper, street sales, or at your school every Monday to Thursday for pre-primary up until grade 3. The lessons are for listening or watching online. Inside the newspapers, there is an insert of the lesson booklet. Please cut the top of the lesson booklet with a pair of scissors and fold it for ready to use. But there is more. We are also available on our online platforms, MyZone and Zoshi Facebook pages, and in addition, our website, Zoshi Online. Hello everyone and welcome to My Zone Online School. My name is Teacher Mutsa and thank you so much for joining me today. Our theme this week is saving water and cleaning up. And before we get into our lessons, boys and girls, we know that we need to sanitize. Remember, when we sanitize, we're trying to show the world how responsible we are. So let's sanitize as regularly as possible. Make sure your hands are dry before you touch anything else. For today's lesson, we will be doing reading comprehension, vocabulary, and number concept development. Let's begin our lesson, boys and girls, on page 17. On page 17, we are going to be doing a reading comprehension. And this one is all about cleaning up. Now, it's our job to read the passage at least 3 times. The first time, boys and girls, is to understand what it is all about. The second time is to try and find our answers. And then the third time is to make sure that our answers are correct. So let's go through it and we will see if we are able to answer. Let's clean up. Emil lived in a pretty village. When he grew older, he had to find work in the city. After a few years, he returned to the village for the holiday. He felt so sad because the gardens were full of weeds and many trees had been cut down. The river was full of rubbish, so the fish died. Emil organized a cleanup campaign. The children all helped to fill the plastic bags with rubbish, which they buried in deep holes. They cleaned up the river and they also planted some trees. They worked hard to make it a beautiful and clean environment again. Emil was so happy to see all the children involved in that campaign. He rewarded them with presents and decided to do a clean-up campaign every year during his holidays. Wow, what a very interesting story. I'm sure Emil is helping the community and also the environment. Now, let's read our questions. Remember, we read them 2 times so that we can understand them better. Number 1 says, why did Emil move to the city? Why did Emil move to the city? Number 2 says, how can you tell that the village was not pretty anymore? How can you tell that the village was not pretty anymore? Number 3 says, name 2 clean-up projects that were done during the campaign. Name 2 clean-up projects that were done during the campaign. And number 4 says, how were the children rewarded afterwards? How were the children rewarded afterwards? So go ahead, boys and girls. You can now read the passage a second time. Take your time and look for your answers. Keep your eyes and ears wide open. Don't forget to answer in full, and starting with a capital letter and ending with a full stop. Then when you're done, please check by reading it a third time that your answers are correct. Have fun, and I'll see you soon after the advert break.
Follow us on MyZone Facebook Active Kids to watch your daily lesson and other fun activities with Zoe and Zoshi.
Let's move on to our next exercise on page 18. On page 18, we are going to be doing our vocabulary words. Today, we are going to be doing vocabulary a little bit different. We're going to define the following vocabulary words, but also give their synonyms and make a sentence. Now, the first one is requiring a meaning, and then the synonym, which means the word that is very similar or sounds the same or has the same meaning. Then we are going to make a sentence with our word. We are going to do the first one together, and then the rest I'm sure you can do by yourselves. Let's take a look at the board. Now I've gone ahead and filled in our word. Our word today is rubbish. That's the one we're going to do together. Now, the meaning of rubbish is waste material. Things that are no longer needed, that need to be thrown away. That is the waste material. And then, when we look at words that are similar or have the same meaning as waste material with rubbish, the words are trash and litter. So, the first part is the meaning, the second is the synonym. After that, you are going to make a sentence. I have made mine. It says, please pick up your rubbish. Now remember, when you're making your sentences, don't forget your capital letter and your full stop. So, these are our vocabulary words, one of them being rubbish. I want you to take your time, and if you do need help, don't hesitate to ask an adult. Make sure all the work is neat, and you can even use color, just how I did as well. Have fun, and I'll see you when you're done after the advert break.
Do you have children in the age range of 5 to 6 years and want to participate in our school booklet program? Please contact us on 081 74 3759 and we will put you on our distribution list for the attention of pre-primary schools. Topics include family, summer, culture, traditions and houses, transport and communications, occupations, autumn and more. We distribute countrywide in over 10 different languages.
Let's now end our lesson today, boys and girls, by going to page 19. On page 19, we are going to be doing number concept development. The first task that we have is to write down all the odd and even numbers in the number range between 121 and 151. So, how are we going to do this? Well, let me try and help you by telling you how you know the difference between an odd number and an even number. Let's take a look at the board. Now, for all our odd numbers, boys and girls, they end with either 1, 3, 5, 7, or 9. So if you see a number that ends with these ones, which means that it is actually the unit. So Mrs. Unit must end with either or any of the numbers. Then, if it is an even number, Mrs. Units is going to end with a 0 or 2, 4, 6, or 8. So be very careful. Odd numbers, they end with these numbers, and then even numbers end with these numbers. Take your time. Make sure you say them out loud. And remember, it's only from 121 to 151. When you're done with that task, we can move on to the next one. This one is about rounding off. Now, they have asked you to round off to the nearest 10, looking at the number and completing the sum. So we're going to try and do the first part of it and the second part. Let's take a look at the board. Now, to help us with our rounding off, we need to remember two things. The first thing is that when we are rounding off to the nearest, the numbers that are 4, 3, 2, 1 at the end need to be rounded down, which means they go back to the tens. That is down. But if the number ends with 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, we go and we round it up to the next tens. So 4 to 1, we know we are rounding down, and 5 to 9, we know we are rounding up. Let's take a look at rounding to the nearest 10. So for this one where we have 3 digits, we know that this is our hundreds, tens, and units. For us to find out the nearest tens, which is what we want, we need to look at the unit. Now the unit in this case is 7. So we go back and we check. The number 7 is under rounding up to the next tens. So if we are saying 100, which is already there, we no longer say 7 and we no longer say 8 because we're rounding to the next one. This 8 changes to a 9 because remember we are rounding up, and then our 7 becomes a 0. So we know that our answer is 190 when we round off to the nearest 10. Now, for the other part below, we have 53. So we put our place values 10 and units. We take a look at units. The number we have sitting under units is 3. We go back to our number line and we try and find 3. As you can see, 3 is rounding down back to the tens it was before. So that means that Mr. Tens does not have to change. It is only when we are rounding up that Mr. Tens changes. So our answer, boys and girls, is 50. So take your time with this one. I know it can be difficult. Use the number line they have given you to help you. Have fun with all your numbers. Don't forget what odd is and what even is as well. I'll see you when you're done after the advert break.
Follow us on MyZone Facebook Active Kids to watch your daily lesson and other fun activities with Zoe and Zoshi.
Boys and girls, we have now come to the end of our lesson and I hope you had fun. Remember, if there's something that you're not sure about, it's okay to ask an adult for help, but please try and finish all your exercises by yourself. So now that we are done, it's very important for us to sanitize. When we sanitize, we are showing the world that we care about staying safe. So make sure that you also tell the person sitting next to you to please sanitize as well. Make sure your hands are dry before you touch anything else. I haven't seen Zoshi today and I want us to go to the park. Zoshi? Oh, there you are. So, from Zoshi and I would like to say thank you for joining us today and goodbye.
Our online school will help you along the way. Find us at www.zoshi.online and download the booklet. Follow us on Facebook to never miss a video. Subscribe to our Zoshi Telegram channel if you want to receive daily updates. Proudly sponsored by the Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture, Namibian Community Trust, UNICEF, My Zone Online School, Amos Meerkat Syllabus, and Capricorn Foundation.